one has written more about LeBron James as Lee Jenkins. Do you remember the letter where LeBron announced that he was returning to Cleveland? Yep, that was Lee. He can keep the secret. So we figured that while we had him here, we'd get him to tell us all the good stuff, the revealing quotes and anecdotes that get to the core of LeBron James and some of the other key NBA stars that he's profiled. Because who these people are helps us understand how they handle situations like Kyrie Irving's estrangement. And since writing is something that I do too, and I'm trying to be fair, Lee and I have a friendly, competitive relationship. Think Magic and Larry, not Katie and Russ. I'll let him grill me afterwards a bit too. Sound good?
No, I want to do that now.
Oh, no. I'm still in charge. It's my turn. In 2012, you met with LeBron right after he won his first championship in Miami, and he told you this. The fishbowl has been there since I was 16. I haven't lived any other way, and I may not be able to survive without it. You chose like the exclamation point instead of a question mark, because I thought it was a good choice. So many celebrities treat fame like it's some miserable condition they have to deal with. Very few people ever cop to enjoying it, and nobody ever says that they need it. Lee, do you think LeBron does?
When he said that, Ramona, I think there was an assumption that we'd all move on, that the cameras would move on to Durant, to somebody else. Yeah, it was over, right? I mean, it was like, and I have this image of him right before Game 5 when they beat Oklahoma City that year, and he just is staring into this bank of cameras. I mean, it was so spooky. They would watch him get dressed. Like, I'm talking about bank of 30 cameras, and it almost seemed like he was gathering strength from it. Like, he was realizing, this is it. I'm going to win, and it's going to be over now. And no one left him. It's been this way, it seems like his whole career, he's lived in this Truman Show existence. And I think that where he wasn't comfortable with it against Dallas or in those early days, now he's extremely comfortable with it. To the point where Maurice Spates in the baby bottle, I don't think he cares. Steph Curry dancing on Instagram like he works out, I don't think he cares. I think that what he cares about right now, I think that what hurts him is the implication that he's not a great teammate, that he's somebody who would be left. Because let's look at everything with LeBron.
Like, no one's ever left him.
No one's ever left him. He's always been the one who left.
He's the guy that everyone's supposed to want to come play with.
That's right.
I remember going back to one of those early stories that you wrote, and it was about him at the playground, and he was tasked with getting all the other guys involved, right? They said, that's the worst guy on the team, and you're supposed to pass him the ball.
Yeah, Sonny. Yeah, that was his name. When he was really little, he'd have to get like the worst player on the team a shot. So that's what he prides himself on, getting people shots, getting them to the big stage, and that's what stings right now, is the implication that he's not that guy, when in reality, he still kind of is that guy when you look at the way he plays.
Well, one of the things that from that first story, that was 2012. So I think that was the second story you did on LeBron, right? Earlier that year, you'd done something about him, kind of coming back from that loss to Dallas, and how he was sort of like Tom Hanks in Castaway, right? He grew the beard and turned his phone off for 2 months. And I read it all last night, and we were prepping for the show. That's what we do, But the one of the things that I got out of that story was this whole like joy narrative, right? There was this idea that LeBron needs to be happy in order to play the right way. He needs guys around him who are happy, right? Like he was the guy yelling waffles in the back of the bus, and he was, and he transposes the name. He goes, he's Jabron Lames, right? Like, he's
that was very Cleveland. That was the first turn in Cleveland.
He gets to Miami, and he's like the villain, and everyone hates him, and he tried to thrive off of that trolling and the hate and this idea that he had to prove people wrong. And the year that he finally won, he got back to being like joyful LeBron, like that whole
That's what
idea.
He said. That's what he said. But my question to you is, did you really see that guy? No. Because what I see is a guy who did take what he learned from Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra and does hit the hammer pretty hard. I don't really see the light, joyful LeBron James that I think he talks about and other people talk about. And that's where I wonder if there is part of this super team compromise, is the idea that you're constantly placating these other stars. Could it be a burden off of him to maybe play without those guys? I mean, this has been a long time where he's been in the center of these super teams. Because I'm curious, when you look at him, do you see a guy who is light and free the way he was that first time in Cleveland? Or do you
you know what? The year they won in Cleveland, I think they had that fun, like with RJ and Channing and the road trip and podcast with JR having fun. Like that year they won, they were happy. They had this synergy to them and this camaraderie. I didn't see that last year.
And he's made it work for him. It's not as though it doesn't work, but he is not, when you look at the way the Warriors play, that joyfulness, I think the way that Cavs play is more like of a Heat philosophy. It's that he's bringing the hammer. So when I think about that joyfulness, I don't know, part of me wonders if it's been overstated. I don't know.